Good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of The Message. I'm your host, Donatus King. We'll spend this next hour with one purpose in mind, and that one purpose is delivering the message that God is Almighty. Everything that ever was, is now, or ever will be was made by God. Everything that ever happened, is happening right now, or ever will happen, was made to happen by God. God has a master plan for all time and all creation. God is Almighty. The message is brought to you by, is produced by the Society of Knowledge Incorporated. The Society is an interdenominational, religious, spiritual organization. Our members come from various different religious and spiritual backgrounds. We have various different religious and spiritual beliefs. Although we come from different backgrounds and have different beliefs, there's one belief that we share. There's one piece of knowledge that we hold in common, and that's the knowledge that there is a being, by no matter what name we may have been taught to call that being, by no matter what name we may have come to know that being, whether that name be God, Allah, Yahweh, Jesus, Buddha, Jehovah, nature, by no matter what name, we know that there is a being that possesses not some of the power, not most of the power, but all of the power. That's the reason we do this show, and the only reason we do this show, to deliver the message that that being that personally I call God, that being is indeed Almighty. Today is June the 8th, 2017, and I remind you of that fact because tonight, as we are on most Thursdays, we are live. And I remind you of that fact because this show is an open discussion. It's a two-way conversation. You see the telephone number that's on your screen. I invite you to use that telephone number, call in. If you're watching by Facebook, leave a comment, and we try to respond to the comments on the air as they're posted. Join this discussion. If there's something that's going on in your church, your mosque, your synagogue, your temple, your place of worship, and you want to share that with the world, call in. If there's something that's going on in your nonprofit organization and you want to share that information with the world, call in and share it with the world. More important than what's going on in your place of worship, more important than what's going on in your nonprofit organization, if there's something that God has done for you in your life, a miracle that God has worked in your life. That's right, I said a miracle because let me level with you, okay? Let me be very truthful with you. We've traveled all around the world. And the different places that we've gone, there are people that are testifying about God working miracles in these days. See, we can read our Bible about God working miracles thousands of years ago. But I've traveled around the world, and people are talking about how God is working miracles nowadays. God is curing people's bodies of all different kinds of illnesses. God is curing people of addictions. God is creating financial miracles in people's lives, relationship miracles. So if you have a testimony about a miracle that God has worked in your life, call in and share your testimony with the world. You know, it may be someone that's going through some tough times right now, whether it be financial times, whether it be health problems, relationship problems, mental problems, and they don't know which way to turn. You know, depression is a serious thing. Many folks kill themselves every day because of depression. God can pull you out of that. Call in, share your testimony. Somebody might be going through some tough times right now, and hearing your testimony about how God made a miracle in your life might be the one thing that they need to strengthen them, to encourage them, to help them to hold on until things get better. So call in and share your testimony with the world. And I keep saying share with the world. You heard me say a little bit earlier that we are streaming live on Facebook. So call in, share your testimony with the world. I understand we do have a caller. Caller, are you there?
Yes. How you doing this evening, Lester?
All right, that sounds like a very familiar voice.
Yes, it is.
As that Brother Chris.
Yes, it is.
All right, Brother Chris. Brother Chris, as we speak right now, I want to just give a shout out to Brother Duvall. Brother Duvall is out there in Arizona. He's tuning in right now on Facebook. So I definitely want to say hello to him. Sister Stewart, thank you, sister, for tuning in and leaving your comment there on Facebook. All right, Brother Chris, you have something you want to share?
Yes. This weekend, I should say, all of the nuns at the Mother House, they are helping our people with the they are helping our people like myself who cannot move around in my situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they are having the 77th anniversary too.
All right. Yeah, I tell you, if anybody wants any more information, they can give me a call. So viewers, if you need a little bit more information about that, give me a call during the week, and I'll be able to get that information to you. Anything else, Brother Chris?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I am praying for Minister Antoine Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's watching and listening.
Mm-hmm.
Minister Brown, if you need some prayers, I'm here for you, my brother.
All right, Brother Chris. As always, thank you, brother, for all the work you do out here.
Okay.
All right. We're going to get in. We have a very full show tonight, and I want to get straight into it. And you're going to see it coming up on the screen in a minute. But, man, I said we're in for a treat tonight. We have some discussion topics tonight, and we have a video that we're going to play. Many of you have probably seen it already, and that's a video by Dr. Levy Q. It's coming up shortly. Let's get straight into our announcements. Our religious spiritual study, prove all things, hold fast that which is good, coming out of 1 Book of Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 21. Our discussion topic tonight, is there evil in the world? If God wanted to, could he eliminate all evil from the world? Now, I invite viewers, I invite you to get involved in this discussion. Okay? Get involved in it. You know, what's your opinion? Is there really evil in the world? And if there is, could God just eliminate all evil if he wanted to? Call in, share it. We're going to get right into that discussion after our announcements. Words of inspiration will come out of the book of Genesis, chapter 45, verses 1 through 15. All right. Brother Tainov, thank you for tuning in, Facebook. Announcements. Brother Chris's prayer line, 504-866-5042. Open Mondays and Wednesdays, 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Meditation training, 2 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Mondays and Wednesdays. Cope line, Monday and Wednesdays, 2 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Bible study Tuesdays at 4:30, and it's free. Again, that number, 504-866-5042. You heard Brother Chris call in just a minute ago. Suggested readings, they've changed. They've changed this week. Coming out of books of Peter, Paul, Ephesians, Zechariah, Psalms, and Isaiah. Our main website, www.godisalmighty.org. I invite you to log that in. Log that website into your web browser. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can go there, and there's a link to all of our social media outlets. There's a religious discussion blog, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Lock it in. Minister Antoine Brown's prayer line, 225-397-4964, is free. If you want to drop him a line, you want to write him, his address is P.O. Box 94, Violet, Louisiana, 70092. We are praying for, and I invite everybody to pray for Minister Brown. Peacekeepers of New Orleans, 504-723-3976. They operate a beef hotline that helps to resolve conflicts in our city. So if you know someone that's having a dispute, having a beef in our community, give the Peacekeepers a call. They'll come out and help mediate, help talk through any kind of problem that's going on out there. Renaissance One is hiring, 504-243-1901 from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Call that number, 504-243-1901 from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Keep hydrated. Drink plenty of fluids. I thank Brother Chris for that word of advice. Children's Hospital is also hiring nurses. The number 504-899-9511 from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And we viewers, I stress, if you know of a business that's hiring, call us, so we can put that information on the screen. We need to let folks know that there are opportunities out there. You know, this show can be a blessing to someone's life. Someone might be looking for employment, and watching this show could be the thing that turns their lives around, because they could get a job, earn a living. So if you know, use this show, use it. If you know of a company that's hiring, give us a call so we can put that information up on the screen. Rock of Ages Ministries International, Apostle Ronnie Bailey, I still haven't corrected that, www.ronniebailey.com. That's their main website. You go to that website and they have links to all their different videos. They're doing a lot of great work, not only in the greater New Orleans area, but also Lafayette area. Apostle Ronnie Bailey. St. John of Arc Catholic Church, 8321 Birch Street. Services Saturdays, 4 p.m., Sundays, 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Something else that needs to be corrected. Hurricane season started last week, not today, last week, and call 311 from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. for free smoke detectors and to register for hurricane evacuation assistance. So if you're in the New Orleans area, call 311. Religious spiritual study. And you know, I've been talking pretty fast. And I've been talking fast tonight because, as I said, we have a full show. But before we get into our religious spiritual study, we have a treat. As I said earlier, we have a real treat. This is a young man I've been knowing since, he was a much younger man. But now he's an ordained minister, and I think he's actually a bishop. He's got his doctorate. So Dr. Levy Q. And we have a real treat of video, music video that Dr. Levy has done. So we're going to roll that now, and I hope you enjoy it.
Who do you believe? I believe in Jesus, the one who died on Calvary. believe? I believe in Jesus, the one who set the captives free. Yes, I believe. Yes, I believe. I do believe in walking prosperity. I live in integrity. It's a wonderful feeling, and it is a choice He gave for calling. So please don't stone me, 'cause I am not falling. I heard His voice, I heard it for myself, and I refuse to turn to anybody else. 'Cause He is my joy, my hope, my peace, my love. The song I sing, because He is my everything. Who do you believe? I believe in Jesus, the one who died on Calvary. No. Who do you believe? I believe in Jesus, the one who set the captives free. I do believe. Who do you believe? I believe in Jesus, the one who died on Calvary. Yes, I believe. Yes, I believe. Who do you believe? I believe in Jesus, the one who set the captives free. Yes, I declare right now, I do believe, yeah. I believe in Jesus, the one who died on Calvary. I'm gonna believe, yeah. I believe in Jesus, the one who set the captives free. Yes, I'm gonna believe. Who do you believe? I believe in Jesus, the one who died on Calvary. Yes, I believe. Yes, I believe. Who do you believe? I believe in Jesus, the one who set the captives free. I do believe in the King of Kings, everything that He's done and He has given to me. If He did it then He can do it again. Just declare and decree and say that I believe. Yes, I believe. I do believe in the prophecy. Every word that was given, that was said unto me. If He said it then I repeat it again. Just declare and decree and say that I do believe. Who do you believe? I believe in Jesus, the one who died on Calvary. Yes, I believe. I'm gonna believe. Who do you yes, I will. I believe. Yes, I will. The one who set yes, I will. Yes, I believe. Who do you believe? I believe in Jesus, the one who died on Calvary. Yes, I believe. Yes, I believe. I'm gonna believe Him. I'm gonna believe the one who set the captives free. No matter what you may say, who do you believe? I believe in Jesus, the one who died on Calvary. Every word spoken. I believe. Who do you believe? I believe in Jesus, the one who set the captives free. Yes, I believe. Yes, I believe. Who do you believe? I believe in Jesus, the one who set the captives free. Yes, I believe. Yes, I believe.
All right, that was a fantastic clip. I hope you enjoyed it. That beat, I was just bouncing. Who do you believe? All right. Yeah, that's Dr. Levy Q. And he's currently in Texas. He has his ministry out there. A number of clips. And if you'll go on YouTube and just plug in Dr. Levy Q, you'll see a bunch of sermons that he has that's posted, other videos that are posted, and other music videos and other videos of his sermons. So that's Dr. Levy, L-E-V-Y-Q. All right, let's get into our religious discussion, and definitely tonight, prove all things, hold fast that which is good, coming out of First Book of Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 21. Is there evil in the world? If God wanted to, could He eliminate all evil from the world? All right, if you have an opinion about it, if you have an opinion, call in and share your opinion. Or if you're watching on Facebook, write a comment as far as your opinion. And I posted this question on Facebook earlier in the week, and I received a number of comments. And, you know, folks, by and large, the majority of people that commented, it was yes to both questions. Is there evil in the world? And if God wanted to, could God eliminate all evil? So now, you know, I'm going to give my opinion in a minute, But let's see if the Bible has anything to say about that. Book of Isaiah, coming out of Isaiah chapter 45, verses 5 through 7. I am the Lord, and there is none else. There is no God beside me. I girded thee, though thou hast not known me, that they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west that there is none beside me. I am the Lord, and there is none else. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. All right. That's coming out of the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verses 5 through 7. See, Dr. Levy Q, that video that we watched just now, posed a question. And the question was, who do you believe? Who do you believe? Now, I'm not trying to tell you how to believe. I'm going to tell you in a minute what I believe, but I ain't going to tell you got to believe the same thing I do. But if you believe the Bible, if you believe it, I ain't telling you got to believe, but if you believe the Bible, Isaiah 45, 5 and 7 says, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Now, before we get to that create evil piece there, it gets up and it's, look, it said, I am the Lord and there is none else. I am the Lord. There ain't no one Lord over here, another Lord. I am the Lord, and there is no God beside me. I have girded thee. I have clothed thee, though thou hast not known me. Now look at this part here in verse 6. That they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west. Now let's get a little bit of understanding. Okay, we got a caller. Caller, are you there?
Yes, Reverend.
Brother Chris.
I believe upon the Bible.
All right. All right. So we have brother.
That's the way I was taught.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I'm going to teach my little niece and my little nephew.
All right. All right, Brother Chris. Thank you, brother. Thank you for calling in with your comment.
Okay.
All right. All right. Now, you know, I'm going to give just a little geography lesson. Let's go back to verse 6. That they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west that there is none beside me. I am the Lord, and there is none else. Now, just a little geography lesson. That they may know from the rising of the sun. Now, where does the sun rise? Okay? Where the sun rises in the east. All right. So look what it says. It says, so that they may know from the rising of the sun. So that people that's in the east will know. And people in the west will know. So that everybody will know that I am the Lord and there's none else beside me. From the rising of the sun. See, I don't just want them folks out in the west to know. I want everybody to know that I am the Lord and there's none else beside me. See, look what it is. Now we get down to this next one, this next verse. I form the light and create the darkness. See, look, you can't get some understanding. You can't bless the light and then curse the darkness. The scriptures say, I create the light and the darkness. I, the Lord, do all these. The I am, the Almighty. See, sometimes it might be kind of hard to understand that God creates evil. That's kind of like, you know, it doesn't compute. And see, there's a level of understanding for that to be able to compute, to be able to comprehend, to understand that there's a being that is almighty, that creates the light and the dark, the good and the evil. See, God in Isaiah is letting you know that this God that's being talked about in Isaiah is not a limited God. See, some folks will say, well, look, the God I worship is in charge of all the good things, makes all the good things happen, creates all the good things, responsible for all the good things. And all the bad things in the world, all the evil things, that they ain't the God. The God I worship, he ain't got nothing to do with none of that. That's the devil. That's the devil. Oh, God ain't did nothing evil, ain't created nothing evil, ain't made nothing evil, none of that. That's the devil. But see, Isaiah said, hold on. See, the God Isaiah talks about says, I create all things. I don't care how you classify it. I don't care if you say it's good, evil, in between, up, down, in, out. I create all of it. I am almighty. Don't put no limits on my power, because my power is unlimited. That's the God Isaiah talks about. And look, he got the nerve to say, and there is none else but me. That you should know, from the rising of the sun all the way to the west. I said, what? I am the Lord, and there is none else. That's what the scriptures say. Now, look. Let's see. Is there any other scriptures? Anything else in here? Let's see. Well, Proverbs. Wait a minute. Proverbs says something. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 4. The Lord had made all things for himself. Yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. Now we got Isaiah talking about that. We got Proverbs talking about that. Job. Now look at this here. Here's Job. Job chapter 2 verse 10. But he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What? What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God? And shall we not receive evil? And look what the scriptures say. In all this did not Job sin with his lips. In all this did not Job sin with his lips. In other words, Job wasn't lying when he said this. What Dr. Levy said, Dr. Levy Q said, who do you believe? You believe the Bible? Well, this is what the Bible says. So how do you explain that? Sister Nichelle, coming out of California. Thank you for tuning in on Facebook. Who do you believe, Sister Nichelle? Is evil real? If God wanted to, could God just eliminate all evil? If he wanted to. All right. Now, I'm going to tell you, so we read the Bible, what the Bible says. I'm going to share with you, and I guess you know my opinion about it. My opinion about it is that I say it every week. Every week. I said it tonight. That God is almighty. Everything that ever was, is now, or ever will be was made by God. That's my opinion. All right. All right. Well, let's move on. Let's move on. And that, as I said, there were some opinions that were shared earlier in the week. And, you know, just the nature of man. The nature of man is part of the human condition. For us to judge. That's part of being human. So when we judge, we're going to judge some things as being good, some things as being bad. That's the human condition. And sometimes, some of the things that now see, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to start some mess now. Some of the things that we might judge as good, later on, it turns out to be the worst thing to happen. How many, okay, I told you I'm going to step on some toes right now. How many of you fellas have gone out and saw this old fine woman, beautiful, whoa, and said to yourself, look, that's my heart's desire. And when you approach her and talk to her, she sounds good. Everything just, everything perfect. And it's so perfect that you ask her to be your wife. And then, once that ring is on her finger, you say, this is one of the worst things that ever happened to me. And I'm speaking now. Some of you may know that I'm a lawyer. And part of my law practice includes divorces. And let me wait. I said just now, talking about the men and finding out this woman that looks so fine, turned out to be one of the worst. One of the biggest problems that we have, and it's not only here in the city of New Orleans, one of the biggest problems that we have, domestic violence. Domestic violence. Hey, we just had, was that the beginning of this week or was that last week, where that fella in Mississippi, now he wasn't one of these what they call radical Islamic terrorists, but he killed more people than the terrorists. Haven, Mississippi. Domestic dispute. I think he killed 9 people. 9 people. Because of problems that he had. And I don't know if the woman was his ex-wife or just his girlfriend, his baby's mama. But domestic. See, and coming back to what I was saying. Sometimes something that we might think is so good turns out to be the worst thing that ever happened in our lives. And sometimes some things that we might call evil turns out to be the best thing that ever happened in our lives. And I think I talked about this before. Sometimes we can be going along, have a great job, wake up in the morning, go to work, and find out that we've been laid off, and lost our jobs. And we start crying and worrying about, wait a minute, I'm going to lose my health insurance. I'm not going to be able to pay my house note. We just went and bought a new car. Not going to be able to pay my car note. Worst thing. And then, a month later, a couple weeks later, because we've been laid off from that job that we would have held on to until the day we retired. But because we done lost that job, we've been forced to get out and look for something else. And lo and behold, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks, a month later, look what done happened. We done got a job that's paying twice as much money as the other one. A job that has some guarantees to it. Got health insurance way better than health insurance we had before. But we never would have had that job had we not been laid off. See, sometimes, because of the limited knowledge that we have, and I don't care if you have a PhD, or I don't care what kind of degree you have. If you're a human, you have limited knowledge. Your brain can only hold so much. But see, the God Isaiah talks about, the God Proverbs and Job talks about, that God has unlimited knowledge. See, that God knows exactly what has to happen in our lives today so that the things God has planned for us tomorrow can occur. See, ain't nothing going to happen just by accident or by chance. God has a plan for each and every last one of our lives. And sometimes we might be going through a phase of that plan, through one of the steps of that plan, and it might be uncomfortable. But let me tell you, God is in control. No matter how we might judge, God is in control. That's the God I'm here to tell you about. The same God that Isaiah speaks about, the same God the Proverbs speaks about, the same God that Job speaks about, the same God that is indeed Almighty. All right. Words of inspiration coming tonight out of the book of Genesis, chapter 45, verse 1 through 15. Now, see what I'm talking about as far as God having a plan? A lot of us know, and we've heard the story about the Hebrews being slaves in Egypt. See, a whole lot of us know. Yep, a lot of us know about that. Some of us that are a little bit older than the others. You know, we saw a movie in the movie theater, in the show. That's what they used to call it, at the show. I'm going to the show. We saw the show, and now every year they play it on TV. You can watch some stations will be playing. And that movie that I'm talking about, that's the Ten Commandments. Okay, the Ten Commandments with, I think, Charlton Heston standing up there, long gray beard, and got the Ten Commandments in his hands, and he's standing up, and then burning bush and all the rest of that. And he stretches out the rod, and the Red Sea opens up. He's leading the Hebrews out of Egypt. The Hebrews were slaves in Egypt. See, a lot of us know that story. Whether we read in the Bible, we saw it on TV, you saw it in the show, a lot of us know that story. But see, the question comes, well, hold on. How did the Hebrews get to be slaves in the first place? How did that happen? See, I don't really remember any movie being about that, about how they got to be slaves in the first place. I don't really remember any movie about that. It probably was one somewhere, but I don't remember seeing it. You don't really hear people talk too much about how they got to be slaves in the first place. But if you read your Bible, you'll find out. And that's what we're reading about right now. All right? I hate to be one of them people that tell you how the story is going to end and all the rest of that, spoil your enjoyment. But I'm telling you, that's what we're reading about right now, how they became enslaved. See, because what we're reading about right now, we're reading about the Hebrews had their own homeland. They were living in Canaan. And now what we've been reading about for the past few months, we've been reading about how it is they got involved with the Egyptians. See, Canaan and Egypt, two different countries. Two different countries. And the Egyptians didn't go to Canaan and capture the Hebrews and bring them to Egypt. No, they didn't do that. That's not what we've been reading about. Okay? What we've been reading about is that the Egyptians had a whole lot of food. There was a famine throughout the whole world. The Hebrews that lived in Canaan found out about it. So they came to Egypt to buy some food. And it just so happens, and as I say, I don't believe in it just so happens, God's plan was that there was a Hebrew that was taken out of Canaan and brought to Egypt as a slave, and he was a slave because his brothers had thrown him in a pit. And he was pulled out that pit and brought to Egypt as a slave, spent a whole lot of years in Egypt as a slave, but God worked a plan out that he rose through slavery, and that Hebrew I'm talking about, his name is Joseph, rose through slavery and got to be the number 2 man in Egypt, only second in power to Pharaoh. So now the stage is set. We got the Hebrews, we have the Egyptians. So now we see how it is that they came together. It wasn't a war. No. It wasn't a war. Look how God, look. You know, we was talking just now about evil and all the rest of that. Man, I know old Joseph was saying how evil it was that his brothers threw him in that pit. I know he was saying that. And I know old Joseph said, man, ain't nothing but the devil made them throw me in that pit. Nothing but the devil. But now we see years later, and there's a whole lot of years have passed, remember? A lot of years. So many years have passed that Joseph has gotten married in Egypt and has children in Egypt. And when he was first brought there, he was a young man. So this thing that happened, that appeared to be so evil, has now got Joseph in a place where he can help not just himself, not just his children, but his whole people. He can help the Hebrew people. All right, let's see if we can read a little bit tonight. All right. Genesis 45:1. Then Joseph could not refrain himself before all of them that stood by him, and he cried, caused every man to go out from me. And there stood no man with him, while Joseph made himself known unto his brethren. And he wept aloud, and the Egyptians and the house of Pharaoh heard. Well, see, look, you know, often I talk about the scripture writer didn't just put extra words up in there just to fill up the page. Now look at the picture that's painted. Okay, we talked about this last week. Joseph was so relieved, so overjoyed, that not only is he seeing his brethren that he'd been separated from, not only is he seeing, but now it's gotten to the point that he's not even trying to hide the fact anymore that they are kin, that they're related. And he is so relieved to say he wept aloud. See, up to this point, we've been reading about, because remember, his brothers came to Egypt before, and Joseph was able to contain himself and hide the fact that he was their brother. He was able to maintain his cool. But that was hard. See, we read about all that. We talked about that. That was hard for him to do because he wanted to embrace his brother. Say, oh, my family, I ain't seen you in so long. See, we talked about that. And now the second time around, he just can't maintain his cool anymore. There's this release. And it's, see, look, we gotta really slow down and get some understanding. Because Joseph is a foreigner. What nowadays they call him an alien. In Egypt, he's an alien. He's not Egyptian. And I'm not going to get political. I'm going to leave politics out of this. I'm not going to talk about they didn't have a wall around Egypt. I'm not going to talk about that. I ain't going to say that. I was tempted to talk about Pharaoh had not built a wall around there. But anyway, Joseph is an alien. So now it's one thing Oh, yeah, see, them politics is trying to get to me. It's one thing to have one alien, but then when you start having all these doggone aliens coming to your country, wait a minute, what y'all multiplying like that? You got too many of y'all coming up in here. All these aliens. See, so Joseph knew that. So this is something that Joseph really, he had an incentive to keep it on the down low. All right? If he wanted to acknowledge his family, you know, he could have said, well, hey, look, everybody get out of here. Just y'all stay there. Family, stay in the room. And then after all the Egyptians had gone out, you know, Joseph could have said, hey, look here. This is me, Joseph. Shh, keep it quiet now. We don't want everybody to know. All right? It's me, your brother. You see, but that ain't the way God had it planned. God had it planned so that what? So he wept aloud, and the Egyptians in the house of Pharaoh heard. Wait a minute now, Joseph getting ready to get kicked out. All his brothers getting ready to get kicked out. Everything, oh man, all heck is getting ready to break loose now. Pharaoh done heard it. See, Joseph could have just kept it quiet, but he didn't. He wept out loud. Man, ain't this something? And Joseph said unto his brethren, I am Joseph. Look at that. I am Joseph. Doth my father yet live? And his brethren, boy, see when you got a guilty conscience. Look, I am Joseph. Doth my father yet live? And his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence. Look, a guilty conscience. See, because they know, they know what they did. They know they threw him in that pit. They know they stole his coat of many colors. They know that. They know they went home and told their daddy, Jacob, that Joseph had gotten eaten up by a wild beast. They know that. And that old guilty mind just had up. All right. They couldn't answer. They were troubled. Wait a minute. Look at this. Boy, now, see, now this is a blessing right here. This is a blessing. And Joseph said unto his brethren, come near to me, I pray you. And they came near. And he said, I am Joseph, your brother, whom ye sold. Oh, whom ye sold into Egypt. See, I told you. He was a slave. And it's all his brother's fault. Such an evil thing. But now we see, because of that evil thing that happened, look at the position that Joseph is in. Now, see what I'm talking about? A blessing? Look at this blessing. Look at this blessing right here. Now, therefore, be not grieved, nor angry with yourselves, that ye sold me hither. Well, Lord have mercy, for God did send me before you to preserve life. Good gracious. Ain't that what we just talked about? Joseph said, look, don't be grieved. And when I say the blessing, that's a blessing on Joseph's heart. That bitterness has been moved out of his heart. That anger, that quest for revenge has been removed from his heart. And Joseph is able to say right now, look, Joseph, look, God had a master plan. When you was throwing me in that pit, when you was selling me into slavery, that was all part of God's master plan. That had to happen. God planned it that way. So what? So he could send me before you to preserve your life. God God has a master plan for all time and all creation. Sometimes when we're going through life, it may be sometimes just like Joseph when he was thrown in that pit. Might be some things that is hard. It might be some times that is hard for us to go through. It might be some times where there's things that happen in our lives that seem to be the most evil thing that could occur. But look. Joseph said, God did send me before you to preserve life. That rough spot you might be going through, part of God's master plan. That rough spot, that bump in the road, that steep mountain, that valley of the shadow of death, all along our path to fulfill that plan that God has for each and every last one of us. As I close, is my prayer that no matter what God has planned for each of you in this upcoming week, no matter how rough the road might get, I pray that God blesses you to remember the words of Joseph. That is God that's sending you through it. Sending you through it not because he's punishing you or hates you. Sending you through it because he has a plan for your life and for all creation. May God Almighty in this upcoming week bless you and yours with peace.